After a long wait, India's star athlete Neeraj Chopra has finally won silver in javelin throw at the Paris Games. Chopra won the silver medal with a throw of 89.45 meters. However, he was not able to cross the record throw of 92.97 meters by Pakistan's Arshad Nadeem. Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised Neeraj Chopra for winning a silver medal at the Paris Games and said that Neeraj Chopra is excellence personified. Chopra also congratulated Arshad Nadeem and for his rather stellar performance. Arshad Nadeem has created history by becoming the first Pakistani to win an individual Olympic gold medal. Nadeem stunned the defending champion Neeraj Chopra of India to win the men's javelin event at Paris 2024. The World Championship silver medalist delivered the best throw in Olympic history with a staggering effort of 92.97 meters, which is almost 2.5 meters more than the previous record, which was set in 2008. Nadeem's competitors did not even get close to the mark. With 89.45 meters, Neeraj Chopra secured the silver medal. Nobel laureate Mohammad Yunus has taken oath as the head of Bangladesh's interim government. Shortly after Yunus was sworn in, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi greeted him. Prime Minister Modi said, India hopes for an early return to normalcy, ensuring the safety and protection of all Hindus and all other minority communities. A harsh critic of Hasina, the 84-year-old arrived in Dhaka from Paris, where he was receiving medical treatment. Yunus made an emotional return home to Bangladesh after weeks of student demonstrations, which killed about 300 people and injured thousands.
আমার কর্তব্য পালনের প্রয়োজন ব্যতীত প্রত্যক্ষ।
In an exclusive interview with WION, Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajeev Wazid, has taken a U-turn on mother's return to politics. Speaking to WION's Siddhant Sibul, he said that his mother is back in leadership role. His statement comes after Mohammad Yunus took oath as the head of the interim government of Bangladesh. Sajeev said that Hasina never ordered the use of force. He added that Yunus is leading an unelected and undemocratic government. Answering a question about US role in toppling the Awami League government, he said that he would not rule out the possibility. After Ukraine launched an unprecedented incursion across the border, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has bashed Russia for the war and said that Russia must feel the consequences of bringing war to Ukraine's doorsteps. He, however, did not directly refer to Ukraine's offensive, which entered the third day. In one of the biggest Ukrainian attacks on Russia of the two-year war, around 1,000 of the country's troops rammed through the Russian border in the early hours of August 6th. Heavy fighting was reported near Zadza, where Russian natural gas flows into Ukraine. US, Qatar and Egypt have called on Israel and Hamas to resume talks in order to finalize a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. In a joint statement, the three countries urged Israel and Hamas to resume urgent discussions on August 15th in Doha or Cairo. The leaders of the three countries have also offered to present a final bridging proposal to resolve the remaining issues. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said that Israel will dispatch a delegation to attend the negotiations. Hamas is yet to respond to the proposal. The battle for Kursk region entered third day after Ukrainian army smashed through the Russian border. Kursk has world's biggest nuclear plant, which has forced Russia to call in the reserves. Heavy fighting was reported near the town of Zhodza, where Russian natural gas flows into Ukraine. Putin has termed the Ukrainian offensive as a major provocation. The White House said that the U.S. had no prior knowledge of the attack. At least 1,000 Ukrainian troops had rammed through the Russian border in the early hours of August 6th with tanks and armored vehicles. India's ISRO is getting ready for its third launch mission of this year, slated for 1 week from now. India's smallest rocket small satellite launch vehicle, or SSLV, will be carrying the Earth imaging satellite EOS-08 to orbit. In the latest mission, SSLV will be flying the ISRO-built Earth Observation Satellite, or EOS-08. It's a spacecraft that weighs all of 175 kilograms. Well, powered by solid fuel, ISRO designed and manufactured the SSLV rocket to enable rapid and low-cost launches of satellites. While other rockets take 30 to 45 days to assemble, the SSLV can be assembled in less than a week. NASA's latest space mission has spiraled into a catastrophic failure, leaving 2 astronauts stranded in orbit with no clear path home. Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams have been stranded in the International Space Station since June. The mission, which was supposed to last 8 days, had hit snag after Boeing Starliner's propulsion system sprung leak and its thrusters failed. Now fraught with risk, NASA is mulling abandoning Starliner entirely for the mission and relying on SpaceX's Crew Dragon to bring the stranded astronauts back. India's top court has granted bail to Delhi's former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia in the excise policy scam case after 17 long months. Supreme Court has also slammed the lower court and asserted that Sisodia has the right to speedy trial. The Supreme Court has, however, imposed certain conditions, directing him to surrender his passport and not to influence witnesses. The bench of Justices B.R. Gawai and K.V. Vishwanathan asked Sisodia to surrender his passport and report twice a week before the probing officer. The bench also refused to accept any ED request to restrict Sisodia from visiting Delhi Secretariat. Delhi Police's special cell has arrested Rizwan Abdul Haji Ali for alleged links to terrorist group Islamic State. With a bounty of rupees 3 lakhs on his head, Rizwan was deemed a wanted terrorist by the National Investigative Agency. Rizwan belongs to the Pune module of ISIS and was expert in IED fabrication, training and planning terror activities. The police has recovered a 1-star pistol of 30 bore, 3 live cartridges and 2 mobile phones from his possession. According to officials, Rizwan and his aides had gone recce of posh areas of New Delhi. U.S. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump and Democratic opponent Kamala Harris will debate on September 10th on ABC News Network. This sets up the first face-to-face matchup between the rivals in what polls show is as an extremely close race. This is going to be the first face-to-face matchup between the rivals in what, like I mentioned, it's going to be a close race according to the polls. Taking to his X handle, Harris announced that she was looking forward to this September 10th debate after Trump finally committed Trump had previously suggested that he might back out of the ABC debate earlier. Chinese consumer inflation rises more than expected in July to hit a 5-month high. This provides some much-needed positive news on the world's #2 economy. The reading comes as authorities struggle to kickstart activity among the country's army of consumers and weak domestic demand. The 0.5% increase in the Consumer Price Index, the main gauge of inflation, that marks the 6th straight month of rising. China endured a period of deflation between October to January, that is when sliding prices of goods and services heightened worries of an economic slowdown. Delta Airlines is pursuing legal claims against CrowdStrike and Microsoft. The issue centers around the global outage last month that caused mass flight cancellations. 1.3 million customers faced disruptions, costing at least $500 million. A software update last month by global cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike that triggered system problems for Microsoft consumers, including many airlines. The disruptions persisted at Delta even as they subsidized the next day at other major U.S. carriers. The Atlanta-based carrier cancelled about 7,000 flights over 5 days. Paramount Global is set to reduce about 15% of its U.S. workforce in the coming weeks. The move comes ahead of a planned merger with Skydance Media, which was announced in July. This also marks a key step forward for the movie studio after it co-produced the 2022 Tom Cruise blockbuster Top Gun: Maverick with Paramount. Paramount's management had previously identified cost savings across the company, and the layoffs are part of its effort to realize them. Skydance had earlier identified some $2 billion in potential cost cuts at Paramount. Petrochemical producers in Europe and Asia are in survival mode. Years of capacity build-up in top market China and high energy costs in Europe have depressed margins for 2 consecutive years. The sector's weakness is troubling for a global oil industry looking at petrochemicals to keep profits rolling in as transportation fuel demand falls. Major producers in Asia and Europe are selling assets, shutting older plants, and using cheaper raw materials. Producers will need to further consolidate capacity as oversupply is expected to persist for years. Tropical storm Debbie made its second landfall in the United States on Thursday, days after it lashed southeastern parts of the country, leaving at least 6 dead. Tornadoes spawned by Debbie leveled homes, damaged a school and killed 1 person as the tropical system dropped heavy rain and flooded communities across North and South Carolina. Debbie made landfall near Bulls Bay, South Carolina, which is about 35 kilometers northeast of Charleston, prompting warnings of major floods in parts of the South and North Carolina as well as Western Virginia. Following the deadly landslides that struck Kerala's Wayanad district last month, residents gave a heartwarming send-off to the Indian Army personnel who were engaged in rescue operations. The personnel were accompanied by their canine units. Both soldiers and canines received massive round of applause from the locals. Soldiers of the Territorial Army were also felicitated by the residents, and they bid farewell to the Indian Army contingent after they aided in the rescue efforts following massive landslides that hit Wayanad and killed at least 350. Apple has updated its policy in the European Union and is now permitting developers to reach out to customers outside of the App Store. Apple is now allowing EU developers to communicate directly with their customers and promote offers within their apps, even if those offers are available outside of the App Store or on external platforms. Apple restricted developers to link outs, which rather means that they could only include links in the apps that redirected users to external websites to complete transactions. This change will give manufacturers more flexibility in how they engage with the users. Russian internet monitoring services reported a widespread YouTube outage across Russia on Thursday. This comes as authorities in Russia have intensified their criticism of the platform. Many users noted that they could only reach YouTube through virtual private networks or VPNs. However, some were still able to access the site through certain mobile devices. YouTube remains one of the few major platforms for free expression available on the Russian internet. In India, security agencies are set to deploy AI-powered security systems around the Red Fort for the country's Independence Day. Over 700 CCTVs, including 150 with video analytics, will be deployed by the Delhi police. CCTVs with video analytics featuring vehicle number plate recognition, audio detection, intrusion alerts, and monitoring of abandoned objects will be installed at key locations. Officials will use AI-enhanced cameras to provide accurate crowd estimates and also a face recognition system which will identify faces in real time, cross-referencing them with a database to alert the control room if required. A massive 45-foot wide 3D printer is building the largest 3D printed community in the world. Similar to how a desktop 3D printer works, the printer constructs objects by adding layers one at a time. The layered concrete walls being printed are built to withstand water, mold, termites, and harsh weather conditions. Currently, the robotic printer is wrapping up the last few houses in the neighborhood of 100 3D printed homes in Texas. The Indian men's hockey team has won back-to-back medals at the Olympics for the first time since 1972. The 8-time gold medalist defeated world number 8 Spain 2-1 to win the bronze in Paris. This win also marks the end of an era for India, with goalkeeper P.R. Srijesh calling time on his career. Srijesh, who has been between the sticks since 2006, walks into the sunset as a 2-time Olympic medalist. American Noah Lyles said that his Paris Games are over. This announcement came hours after he needed medical attention following his shock third-place finish in the 200 meters when it was revealed that he tested positive for COVID-19. Lyles, who claimed the 100 meters title, was aiming to become the first man since Usain Bolt to complete an individual Olympic sprint double. Russian chess champion Amina Abakurova was allegedly caught on camera attempting to poison a longtime rival Omeigand Osmanova during a chess tournament. The 40-year-old reportedly smeared what is believed to be mercury on a rival's chessboard and pieces that caused Osmanova to experience severe nausea and dizziness shortly after the tournament started. Abakarova was stripped of her title and is now reportedly facing a lifetime ban and potential jail time.